Hey, my brothers and sisters, it's your boy Zatch, and welcome back to some more Gacha discussion. We're discussing, yeah, whatever. We're talking about Gacha games, not just Honkai Star Rail, Wuthering Waves, Zenless Zone. We're talking about a lot, and we're just talking about 4 stars and their viability, or them being used as a way to, experiment for future characters, or just being worse versions of existing characters. Now this all started because a while back, Baxter made this comment about the new end game coming to Honkai Star Rail, and that we need more 4 stars, or this is cooked for free-to-play players. And I really don't care about this part. I just want more 4 stars, man. Like I said earlier, I just want my 4 stars to be somewhat viable. And I don't want them all to be viable because I know they can't be. But somewhat viable in some capacity. Worse versions of existing characters, or purely used for experimentation of new mechanics. Like if they meet any 3 of those criteria, they're a fine 4-star to me. If they can implement a new mechanic and be absolute garbage, but if it's just them trying out something brand new with a low rarity character, hey, it's fine with me. It's fine with me. And if at least 50% of your 4 stars meet any 3 of those conditions, it's fine with me. Now, when looking at Honkai Star Rail's, low rated characters, honestly, most of them do not fit that criteria. They really don't. Like, Gallagher, we all love him. And then supports are always, good. But, Pele and debuffing. But, for the most part, not too much experimentation is being used with these characters, and some of them are honestly just throwaways. Like Misha, I don't know what the point of Misha's existence ever was. And I like Misha, the character. It's just like, what was the point of making Misha so bad? Real stuff. What was the point of doing Misha so dirty? They could have at least used lower rarity characters to kind of fill out other halves a little bit, just a half bit, because we're going to turn on 5 stars for a second. We're going to go to preservation. This is all we got in terms of preservation. I know we're getting a new Dokkan. I know I stay up to date with the game, but I'm saying this is all we have for preservation. We've only had March for preservation since the beginning of the game. Why? Still not a single 4-star remembrance. Hunt, we got 2 new ones, so I ain't mad there. We got, supports. Nothing here. And then we got fucking Misha. And we got Galago, and Lynx. But they're not really using 4 stars for anything. And that's why you can be like, that's probably why they're not releasing them. But why must go for a premium character every time? Someone's literal argument was I thought it was pretty funny. But they said something along the lines of, it's a good thing we don't get new 4 stars because we already know they're going to be bad. So the fact that we don't get as many means we always have a source of pool, since we already pulled all the old ones to be max dupes. Ain't that sad? Is that not sad? That it's just I don't want no more 4 stars because they're all going to be bad anyways. And they're just going to make it longer for me to get more pools. Is that not sad? That is a sad thing to say. Looking at Withering Waves, for the most part, they also have not released many 4 stars. I wish they would release more. Certain someone who was recently showed off, I think they would be a fine 4-star addition. Cough, cough. But yeah, no. I'm not too mad at the ones they've introduced so far, simply because one was a miss, and then the other one was interesting, but interesting mechanic. So, met the criteria of interesting mechanic. And then one was just a miss who's okay, And then their low rarities aren't too terrible. I believe most characters do get a support buff at max, right? Max dupes? I can't remember. Keeping track of every fucking character in the game is not possible. I'm sorry, but it just isn't. But I'm pretty sure most of them get some supportive capabilities once they get the max dupes, so that helps them somewhat, So I'm not too mad there. In Zenless Zone Zero, most of our lower rarity characters are supports. Honestly, I think we need to see a low rarity attacker, because we haven't gotten any since the beginning of the game, or rupture, just to add something to the rupture. But for the most part, we've been seeing supports, stunners, and defensive characters. So a new anomaly or attacker would be nice in Zenless Zone Zero's case. We haven't seen them do a 4-star attacker yet, so seeing how they handle it will determine how I feel about their full round 4-star treatment. But for the most part, as of right now, they've just been taking the role of, or taking the path of making supports be lower rarities, which is the safest route to go with making them have longevity. Verse 1999, for the most part, they do a pretty good job with their low rarity characters. It's either they do the whole interesting mechanic thing, or they're viable. So that's why this is here just to show that it's possible to do it. Because Remerge 999 does it. I feel like I said the name wrong right there, but it doesn't matter. Also, Black Beacon, even though it is not doing the best, they do a good job with the low rarity characters, because the majority of them are useful. Like 70% of them are good, like usable in some way, shape, or form, without needing heavy investment. I think that's another thing that I should say. Because yes, low rarity characters can be used against in-game content and everything else, and challenging events in general. You know, if you invest hard, I don't think you should be investing heavily to make a character even usable. I think that's stupid, me personally. But yeah, no, low rarity characters should be treated with some form of respect. Like, you shouldn't be dreading the release of a 4-star because you know the game doesn't handle low rarity characters well. Like, it should be okay to release a low rarity character, and they should be, at most, okay without heavy investment. Because most of the time when you see people having to use low rarity characters, it's heavy investment. And I don't mean dupe wise, I mean because most of these games nowadays have relic systems or equipment or gear systems, whatever you call them. And you know, they spend a lot of time going for really good gear. And that's very annoying. Just gonna be honest, that's very annoying. And then lastly, we have Dokan, who does it the best. The absolute best. Now, this is just a little, segment of how many characters. Dokkan's been out for over 10 years, so they got lots of characters. But, they have what's called side banner characters, because you have the premium characters who are either summonable LRs, which is the highest rarity, or Dokkan Festival exclusives, which is special characters. And you just have the regular ones, which are side banner units. This is a side banner. This will be a side banner. And all these are just like very old characters. Like this girl, I'm using her as an example, released in 2017. That should give you an idea of how old this game is. But also, this is what she looked like at that time, and this is what she is now after she's been, reworked. So, using Dokan as an example of a game that doesn't just buff, let's see, let's do it like this. Turn that off. So recently, Honkai Star Rail has finally, been upgrading their older characters, that being Kafka, Blade, Zenless Zone Zero did theirs, which for right now the one they did was Ellen, and then Reverse 99 has been doing it for a while with their Euphoria, Euphorias. So they've been buffing characters for quite a while. The difference between R99 and the others up here is, well, Withering Waves hasn't needed to quite yet, but if they get to that point, hopefully they do. But the difference between R99 and these two other ones is R99 does lower rarity characters as well when they do upgrades. And Dokan upgrades low rarity characters, as you can see, all the time. And even the characters that they have awakened before, because this is why it says Super Extremity Awakening, that means the characters have been double buffed. Double buff. That means they went through a regular awakening, and now they're being buffed again to keep them, viable later on. So hopefully, if Honkai Star Rail, ZZZ will live for a long time, and after a character has been buffed, in this case Ellen, Blade, and all them, if the game lives long enough to where those characters fall off again, and they're willing to give them a little additional buff, that'd be nice. But the point is, buff low rarity characters as well. And ZZ, all we got was Ellen buff, but I don't think it'll be too harmful to buff the lower rarities as well. Those being Billy, Corrin, MB, Anton, buff them as well. Honkai Star Rail, you could definitely just go around buffing the lower rarity characters, 100%. It would not hurt you in any aspect whatsoever. It'll just make more characters useful. And what's wrong with more characters being useful? Nothing. At all. No, literally nobody can tell me there's something wrong with more characters being useful. I'm sorry, but even if you try, I wouldn't listen to you. I'm just going to be completely honest with you. And that's not me being stubborn. I'm just saying more choice is usually better. Because that means things aren't so samey when it comes to teams. Every team won't look the same if there's more options for teams. I think that's a lot more fun. Me personally. But yeah, this video is all over the place. But the main points have been made, which are either 4-star should be viable, should be used as a way to experiment with new mechanics, or just worse versions of really good characters just so they can be used on other teams. That's just my opinion on low rated characters. And I didn't just bully one game. I'm looking at many games. Some who do it great, some who don't do it that well. and some who are still in the air in terms of judgment because they haven't been alive long enough to really been, judged completely quite yet. 'Cause you need a little bit of time to pass before you can really pass judgment on the game. And I didn't talk about Genshin because I don't play that game, and I don't like talking about games I don't play because that's not really fair to them for me to be talking out my ass about something I don't know. But I don't think, I haven't heard anything too bad about Genshin's Rarity characters, to my knowledge, so I'm going to guess they're doing okay in that regard, with the at least 50% of them being somewhat usable. But, yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you join the discussion about what you think, or well, how you think low rarity characters should be used. My mom's dog is here because I'm watching her, because my mother's out of town, so if you hear Journey barking, that's her name. Yeah, she's just barking, because dogs bark sometimes. Anyways, I'll see you on the next one. Love you guys, and bye-bye. By the way, the outcome to that summon video was me losing the 50-50. By the way, I had to go actually way more pulls in, even though I was very close to Heart Pity in the first place. And yes, I lost it to Arena. So, yay.